I heard something really interesting the other day. It's all about the Songololos. You see, I don't know how they get news from elsewhere in the world, but they heard from their cousins in America. And the news was that the cousin called Radloff had disappeared. They didn't know where. What would happen to Radloff, they thought? Now you need to know that Radloff was one of the Songololos from the yellow-banded kind of Songololos that live in Florida in the United States. Well, they weren't sure exactly what happened, but Radloff's family sent a message to say that they'd heard from him in the most peculiar way. They were listening, it seems, at the window of the house, because that's what they do there, and they heard what seemed like a radio crackling. "That's Radloff's voice," they said. "What's Radloff doing?" "Don't know." Then they listened some more, and they discovered that Radloff had in fact snuck on board a little wagon where he lives. And that wagon had been taken all the way to the launch site of a spaceship. Oh no! They thought Radloff might have become a spaceman or space Songololo. Well, it turns out that Radloff actually fell asleep in this little wagon, and the little wagon was put inside a bigger cart, I suppose, and then in a box. And next thing, he found himself in the dark, rattling along a bumpy road. Nobody knows exactly how long it took or what happened to him. But the news they had was when Radloff was able somehow to make contact through the radio on board the spaceship. He'd gone all the way up in a SpaceX flight to what they call the space station. And there they had opened the box and taken the wagon out with the little trolley in it. And, of course, Radloff was in it. But I'm not sure what happened, except that the family over there said that Radloff started floating around. He wasn't able to keep all his legs on the ground. He was floating around and he found himself bumping into things. He squiggled and squirmed and curled himself up tight into a little Songololo circle, but even that didn't help. He was still floating around. And Radloff's report was that they found him floating around in the space station and put him in a little cubicle, because they said never before had a Songololo gone into space. And so Radloff became the first Songololo, although he was a yellow-banded Songololo. He became the first Songololo ever to go into space. Now you might ask what happened to him. Well, that's where it gets interesting, because Radloff still isn't back home. Now the family don't quite know where he is. They only heard a little bit of what had happened to him. But they did think that he was probably going to come home, because the little they heard, they were told that he'd been put in a safe place inside the space station. So who knows, we might hear more about Radloff the Songololo, who found himself in space. Bye!